This episode is sponsored by Student Advocate. Student Advocate understands that student well-being is a top priority. That's why they've designed a cutting-edge program that empowers students, teachers, and counselors to prioritize social, emotional, and mental wellness like never before. Counselors and teachers can now effectively prioritize their student contacts, make a more significant impact, and maintain a constant pulse on their students' well-being through Student Advocate. If you do self-check-ins in the morning with your students, this program gives you an innovative way for the students to check in, ask for certain resources, journal, and find a whole host of video resources that they have access to at any point of the day. And here's the best part. For our dedicated Aspire to Lead listeners, you're eligible for an exclusive 10% discount when you set up Student Fit for your individual classrooms, schools, or districts. Just remember to use the special code ASPIRE10 during the setup process to claim your well-deserved discount. Join us in transforming the student-counselor dynamic and addressing the issue of the ever-increasing student-to-counselor ratio. With Student Advocate, well-being takes center stage, and together, we're going to be making a lasting impact on student lives. Head over to studentfit.fit to sign up today. As for our episode today, I am absolutely delighted to introduce a remarkable individual whom I've had the great privilege of mentoring for an incredible 3-year journey. Witnessing his growth and evolution as a leader has been truly inspiring, and I couldn't be prouder of his remarkable transition into the realm of educational administration. Today's guest is none other than LeBronte Hoover, who is embarking on his 2nd year as an assistant principal in Frisco, Texas. So get ready for an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at his incredible journey as he shares his insights and experiences, taking us from his roots as a teacher and coach to his current role as a dedicated administrator. Welcome back, everyone, to Aspire to Lead, where we will be discussing the visions, inspirations, and experiences from top educational leaders. My name is Joshua Stamper, and you can connect with me on Twitter or on Instagram at Joshua_Stamper. Aspire leaders, I am overjoyed because I have the wonderful opportunity, really, to celebrate this wonderful man that I am sitting with. And it is a guy that I had the pleasure of mentoring on my campus. And it is a true celebration to see the growth that has happened over the last couple of years. And now he is an assistant principal, leading the campus, doing some phenomenal things. I cannot wait to share his steps in his journey, but then also all of the wonderful accomplishments that he is doing right now as he's impacting so many lives. Mr. Hoover, thank you so much for being on the Aspire to Lead podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Better be. Come on now. You've been doing some wonderful things, and I want to touch on your story because you are an inspiration to so many, including myself, and I would love to hear about your educational and leadership background.
Well, it's funny because, you and I work together, and watching you and the other admin on that team, shout out Ms. Milani, you inspired me to go into leadership because I never wanted to be a principal or as AP anywhere in the front office. I just wanted to coach sports and, maybe one day be a head coach. But when I joined your campus in mid-year, like early 2019, and just being around you guys and, just kind of really seeing what the job entails, and it inspired me to want to, come up out of the locker room in the coach's office and move towards the front office and really start trying to make a change throughout the campus. I always thought like, man, I just want to work with the athletes. I want to do this. I want to, do that. But it was all surrounded by athletics. I was just like, well, I started getting this hunch of like, man, I can do more. Being around you, like I said, just inspired me to say, man, I could take this step. And you guys, y'all gave me opportunities. It was like, you really want to do this? And you put me, in different opportunities that I benefited from. And I was like, okay, after a few opportunities, few experiences, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I want to do this. And so I started making that step to being an administrator.
All right, so you've made the jump now, and so you're an administrator, and so where you are in your administrative journey?
Right now, I'm in my 2nd year as assistant principal. First year on a new campus. Last year, I moved districts. And I was at the middle school level as an assistant principal. It was a wonderful place, wonderful admin team there. I'd like to give a shout out to Ms. Mottram and Mr. Brown. Wonderful people who taught me a lot, gave me a lot of great experiences. But just for the sake of travel and in time, I had to come back up to Frisco SD so I can be closer to my home. So now I'm doing high school. Started my career teaching and coaching in high school. So after 5 or 6 years, I'm back at high school. So it feels good to be back around the older kids, but high school has changed so much in those years that I was away from it. The first couple of weeks was kind of shocking for me, but it's been really fun, and it's new experiences every day. It's a different grind every day. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm working with an amazing admin team now, and I'm learning from them. They're allowing me to showcase my strength, and we're having fun with it every day.
Well, Hoover, we both came in very similar time at that campus, and it was a true pleasure, buddy, to work with you. And you were like a sponge, and you were just so hungry to learn and to get those different experiences. And it was just amazing to see your growth over such a short period of time. And I want to talk about that leadership development piece because you said it earlier that we gave you some opportunities to get the experience you felt needed to make that move from teacher to administrator. So I want to go back down memory lane with you, and I wanted to know, what were the most impactful experiences that you went through that you felt like, okay, that was really needed for me to make that next leap as far as becoming an administrator.
Two things that, as an administrator, that you have to do a lot, daily, really, is being in classrooms. That's one of the areas that I feel that I still have to grow in and still, am growing in, is being in the classrooms and learning that instructional leadership piece. The times that, you and I would go in while you were going to do walkthroughs, and invite me and we'll go in, and when we leave the classroom, we just kind of talk about, you ask me, so what did you see? And you break out the rubric and say, did you see this happening? Or did you see that happening? Ask me certain questions just about how to evaluate teaching practices. And other than that, the other thing was along the line of the student services and parent communication, allowing me to be in the room and help out, to speak with students and call parents, and especially that calling parents piece, man. Like, just I remember a few times that y'all, gave me a sheet of paper with information on there, just saying, hey, contact these parents and notify them about what happened on campus, and I was like super nervous. Like, man, these people don't know me, I was just a coach on campus. I would call them and tell them, about their kid doing, XYZ. Just like, man, but when I got actually into the role last year, my first year, I realized how important that was at having that clear communication with parents about, student behavior or whatever incidents may come up. Because, parents are gonna email and they're gonna call and they're gonna report this and report that, and you may have to do an investigation here or look into this or look into that. It helped me so much last year, my first year. We had a couple parents that were they're really grateful for my ability to, really communicate with them, and they understood, and they really felt my energy, that I really care, because I really do, about, their kids. And so it built a very strong partnership between the parent and the campus in general, not just me. We did some good stuff there.
Well, one of the things that I think stood out between you and some of the other folks that were also trying to become administrators was just your presence in the front office and you being very intentional about the role of mentorship. So I want to ask you why you thought mentorship was so important, and what were some valuable components that were valuable through that relationship between you and the administrative staff.
I can answer that based on before coming to Texas, under the administrators that I worked with at that point in time. It was some administrators, and you probably remember me saying this. like I never wanted to go into my principal's office when I was in Louisiana, where I came from. If you were in the principal's office, it was a negative thing. Like it was just bad. So there's one administrator from that time of my life, Mr. Mason. I can shout him out too. We still talk. He's a mentor to me as well. That we have conversations about the ins and outs of this job, and I spent some time talking to him when he was an AP, and then when he got his first principal job, I worked for him as well. So I got a chance to peek into the principal role by working closely with him. And even when I thought about becoming an administrator, I worked on that campus with you guys, and I asked him, like, hey, what do you think about this? And he told me, hey, man, I always saw it in you because you could get people to follow you in your vision. I was like, man, well, maybe, if he think I can do it, and my relationship with you guys on at Stafford, and I was like, man, if they believe in me, then I can do this. Right. And just, being around y'all, like I said, just being able to come in the office and it not be a negative thing. We could just be people and just talk and just be, humans. And we talk life more than anything than school, just learning each other and building those strong relationships and partnerships. So we knew each other's strengths and weaknesses. And you guys gave me those opportunities to build me up. And just really mentoring me. And especially, I work closer with you on the assistant principal stuff just because, I just, you were my appraiser and we kind of worked together a lot. So I just kind of went to you for most of my answers.
It's okay, Hoover. You can say you enjoyed me more. That's okay. We can put it on the record. It's all good.
I, I don't want the other two to jump on me. I love them too.
I know they're the best.
But the way you guys, mentored me in this thing, because like I said, I had no clue of what this job entailed other than, like I said, my Louisiana mentor, Mr. Mason, just kind of watching him do the job. But it was on a total different playing field. Like those schools back home versus the schools where we are in now, it was totally different. And so I needed to learn how things go here. And so being able to watch you guys and learn from you guys, that was very big for me. And now since I've finished and become a leader, I have people that have reached out to me and said, hey, man, what did you do? Or how long did it take? Or how can I do this? Or what did you do in this? I can say, I've talked to maybe about 10 to 12 people. I just talked to a guy yesterday. Actually, he walked up to me and asked me, hey, man, what program did you do? And how was it? And how can I do this? Or what prepared you? Or what convinced you to take the next step? I've been thinking about it. And so, I give them all the information you guys showed me. I like to pass it along. We need to grow more people in this profession. A lot of people are walking away from it. We need to do everything we can to keep it going.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. You can find out more at teachbetter.com/podcast. Now let's get back to the episode.
All right, so let's talk about your transition from teacher to admin. So I want to know, what was the largest surprise in your new role?
Oh man, that's easy. Somebody asked me that about a month ago. I realized this last year, my first year as an administrator, that I don't receive the same respect as an administrator that I received as a coach. And that surprised me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm the coach and all, but now I'm an assistant principal. And I feel like I leveled up a little bit, but I would receive more pushback about decisions as an assistant principal than I do as an athletics coach. And I'm like, that don't make sense to me. But I'm like, usually coaches handle things in the locker room. If it makes it to the front office, it must be pretty serious. But I've had to call parents as an assistant principal and receive more pushback as an assistant principal than I do as a coach. I was like, what? But so that is the most surprising thing that since I've been in this new role.
All right, so looking back, was there anything that, there's roles and responsibilities that you have now that you wish, I wish I would have had that experience as a teacher and a coach to prepare myself for the role I'm in now?
I'm sure there is. Let me think on that.
That's all right. And the reason I'm asking is because there's a lot of folks that are out there that are asking their admin for different experiences, but a lot of times there's things that they just may not even know or realize that they should be getting or asking for.
I'll say this. You guys gave me this opportunity. It was there for me to get, definitely, but I didn't take advantage of it. I'll say that. And that's being in planning rooms, because all my career I've been on health and PE. And so I missed a lot when it comes to the planning of core subjects. And like I told you when you were my appraiser, when I first got to Texas, like, hey man, I've been in this game, 7 years? And I'm still learning how to be a good teacher, And so I wish I would have took advantage of the times that I could have sat in rooms with the ICs and the planning teams, things like that. Especially if you're not a core teacher, man, I would recommend that. If you're an elective teacher, man, go sit in those core planning groups so you can understand. Because, like I said, as I'm in my second year in this, and I'm still, I've learned a lot, but I still like to go and listen so that I know, you know me, when we work together, I would always tell you like, hey, this terminology and all the abbreviations and all that, like, man, look, I don't know what none of this is.
All the acronyms. There's so many acronyms.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, I got to learn. So I've learned so much in that time, but it's still a journey. It's still a learning process.
Oh, for sure. All right, buddy. We're winding down on our conversation here, but I wanted to shout you out because I saw on social media you were doing a presentation relationship building, and I wanted to ask, what was it that you were sharing out for that presentation?
Well, my strength. I'm a social guy, and I'm very big on relationship building with the students. And so I did a relationship building talk, and I've done this at the beginning of the year, the last 2 years now. I've kind of named it my daily 7. It's the 7 things that I did as teacher coach to build relationships with my students. And I'll just run through them. Number 1, I always show your scars. Show the students that you're human too. A lot of times, we come in and you think of that, don't smile till Christmas and don't do this and don't that. Man, you have to let these kids know that you're human too. You have emotions. You're going to have bad days. There's going to be times where your child may be sick. It may be a time where you lost a family member, things like that. Show them that you are human too, that you have emotions and your feelings can get hurt, and don't go in there and cry every day or anything, but just showing them that you are human. You get upset sometimes and things like that. The second one I had was look for positive to comment on. Even the students that, you may not have a great relationship with at the time, a way to improve that is looking for things to comment on. Number 3, develop an interest in their interests. And this is a big one in the time that we live in right now, because students that we're teaching now, man, they're not us. We're in this new generation where these kids have grown up on the internet, and everything that they're into is on the internet. If you're not, you've been in teaching, 20 plus years, I'm pretty sure you're probably not a fan of TikTok and all the different social media things, but the kids that you're teaching are. You never know. You may have kids that have over 1 million views or whatever, and that's their lifeline. That's where they find their self-worth and all that. So you have to go into their world to go get them. The next one I have is have a sense of humor. It's always okay to laugh. Laugh at yourself. just have that open communication with your kids so that you can be able to share a laugh and stuff don't have to always be so tense so that they don't like you. I remember being a teacher coach and doing, things that, man, I would always tell y'all, man, if y'all rolled the camera back in that gym, man, we would make a lot of money off the stuff of me dancing around and all that, doing anything to keep the kids engaged and entertained because they're looking around, especially in a PE class, they're looking around not wanting to do things because they don't want to be embarrassed. So I take that from them. I embarrass myself to allow them to not to feel comfortable. The next one is attend student events. Show them the support. Show them that you believe in them. Whether they're, an athlete, whether they are in one of the fine arts, anything like that, whatever they're doing, maybe even outside of school, if, you build that relationship with their parent and let them know, like, hey, I would like to attend one of their competitions or something like that outside of school, just so you can show them that you care. Then I had, name and need, that's the big thing in Frisco ISD, but, I had it a little bit differently because I say every student needs you, right? No matter the student. Sometimes I feel like, as teachers, as educators, we kind of miss out on the opportunity to impact the student because they may be, more fluent than another student, when every child needs you. I've had students that have, both parents and live great lives outside of school. And they've needed me just as much as a kid that wasn't as fortunate. And so every child needs you. Don't look at the kids, oh man, they're straight A students. I've had, students who were so intelligent, they still needed something from me. That's why it's so important to build those relationships. And 7, I have established boundaries. This is a big one. Love them, but not to their detriment. Hold them accountable. I'm gonna help you out as much as I can, but you have to be held accountable. I'm not gonna let you just do whatever so that eventually things are gonna happen that you can't get out of. So I have to hold you accountable. So those are the 7 things that I practice daily as an educator to make sure that I'm building strong relationships and that my students are receiving the best education that they can receive when they walk through the door.
Sounds like you're writing a book, The Daily 7 by LeBronte Hoover. Is that correct?
It crossed my mind, but it really crossed my mind because I can go so much deeper into that. And I have another idea that I'm working on.
We'll save that for the next time you're coming on the Spider podcast.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll come back when it's time to promote it.
All right. I'm gonna keep you to your word, my friend. All right, let's touch on the last 2 questions here, which is, that actionable step. So, and maybe you can just speak into, your own journey and experience, but, for someone that's listening that's an aspiring leader, or maybe they're a current young leader that's looking to enhance their leadership journey, what is one item they can do tomorrow or next week that you think was extremely valuable?
For all the people that's aspiring to become an educational leader, I recommend, if it's possible for you, wherever you are, is to go look at some diverse campuses. Go and visit some other campuses where the population is very diverse, and also go look at some campuses that maybe on the lower end of things, so Title IX campuses and stuff, and just go and experience it. If you could take 2 hours, 3 hours, a whole day, and go experience it, those are the campuses that I started my career off in, and now to be where I am, the things that I learned at the beginning, and the things that I've seen and experienced, in those times is what shaped me. I didn't realize it until, I had people like you and the other great administrators that I worked alongside of, to point it out to me, like, hey man, when I thought, I was like, man, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, or I don't know what. And you pointed out, like, no, this is. Remember when you said this, or remember you experienced this. This is what that is, and and it made sense to me then. So, getting varied experiences. I think sometimes people get caught up when you're in this more fluent classrooms and districts that they like, oh yeah, this is how it's going to be everywhere, and then you go somewhere else and it's not, and they're miserable. And even in the times that we're in, with people moving around so much, like change is coming. If you are in a situation where, oh man, you think that you're just at the best school with all the best kids and all that, like, there's so much movement nowadays that, the next year, what you thought was just so wonderful, the campus could change, and you have to be ready to adapt to it. You can't stay like, oh no, we have to stay this and you have to stay that, and we only do this and we only have this type and this and that. No, I promise you, it's gonna change. Sooner or later, something different is gonna come knocking at the door, and if your feet are planted in cement, then it's not gonna be good for you. You got to be able to pivot.
The one guarantee in education is that it will change.
Yes.
And as an administrator, that's every day. All right, buddy. So I want my listeners to connect with you as soon as possible on social media. So how can they find you?
Right now, I really operate mainly off of Facebook. It's just LeBronte Hoover, and off of Twitter, also known as X, I guess, at Hoover L _.
You're not going to throw out the TikTok videos and stuff?
TikTok videos, I don't have any of those. Well, I featured in a few with my daughter and a few of my students.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about those videos that we pulled from you dancing in the gym? I thought we posted those on TikTok.
Oh, man. Hey, if we did, we would definitely be viral.
Well, buddy, it was great to talk with you. As always, it was a joy, literally a joy, to work with you each day for 4 years, almost 4 years at Stafford Middle School, and I miss working with you dearly. So I love the success that you have in your life, and I know you're touching so many folks in a positive manner as an administrator, and I just appreciate your time so much and being a guest on Aspire to Lead.
And I appreciate you, giving me the opportunity to be here and just speak to my leadership journey. I'm still growing. Like I said, I have some things in my mind that I want to do to kind of open up and help inspire more leaders to kind of speak to different situations and different campus climates and cultures. And I have a lot that I want to do. I just don't know the next step yet, and so like I said, I'm working with some great admin right now. I want to shout out my team that I'm working with, Dr. Potter, Mr. Addo, Blazer, Bergman, and Patterson. Amazing team of admin, and we mesh real well together. We're doing some great things on our campus. So I just want to give them a shout out also because they pour into me daily. I'm excited to go further. I'm excited to continue to grow. And I'm excited for Aspire to Lead, and I'm waiting on your next release. And, all those things, man. I don't know. I'm just living life, man. I told someone today, all it takes is to be a good human, man. You'll be a good educator.
Well, there might be something percolating, but we'll announce that later. All right, man. Well, I believe in you, and I know you're going to do great things. So appreciate you so much, and can't wait to see what's next in your journey.
Thank you, sir.